Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? So happy you're here. Tell me what's new. Say hello in the chat. Oh, there we are. So yeah, really happy that you're here. We are going to be talking about transposition. So there are a few things that, give me a second. I think we need a little bit more light. I think we'll be okay though, because I want you to be able to see this really well. And if the light was too bright, you wouldn't be able to see this. So I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Thanks for joining me on a Saturday. Yeah, we're going to talk about transposition of some basic chord charts because last week what had happened is that I was going through Budapest and I had transposed it from the original key. So hey Joshua, how you doing? So transposed it from the original key to a different key that had more accessible chords, more accessible key to someone that is just starting the ukulele. It was from G, C, and D. And then it's originally transposed from the key of F. So good morning, Pete. How are you? Thanks for joining me today. So what I decided to do is a couple weeks ago, I thought, you know what, it'd be really cool to maybe show you how I transpose things. So let's get started. So we have the circle of fifths. And basically, when it comes to the circle of fifths, this fancy thing, it's basically letting you know that music has order. Music has structure. And I see music or the parts of music as Legos, just scattered all over the floor. It can be very confusing. But once you start taking those pieces and you start putting them together in certain orders, then what happens is that you start creating a structure and you have an infinite amount of possibilities. I see the notes and the rhythm, and I see that as you put those Legos together, you can start constructing just about anything. And once you can understand certain structures, it's easy for you, or it's easier for you to make your own music. And it's also easier for you to just dissect a chord chart or a piece of sheet music. Okay, so let's start with notes. We have something called the diatonic pattern, which is your major scale, which is your do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. All right, I started with the key of C because in the key of C, there are no sharps, no flats. Okay, and so it's like, wait a minute, no sharps, no flats. Wait, what does that mean? So I'm just gonna move this over here for a second. And this is a transposition table or Nashville number chord chart. You can find this online. If you do a Google search, you'll find quite a bit of them. And it's really the scales all in order. And so when I have my diatonic C scale, it has no sharps, no flats. And I start from C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And if it were to be extended to an 8, because we have numbers 1 through 7, it would be a C. So no sharps, no flats, all the white keys. And the order that we have with the diatonic pattern, we have whole step, whole step, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. So it's really just do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And when you have the diatonic pattern, that's basically what it is. If it's just a fancy word like the Ionian scale, diatonic pattern is just a fancy word for do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Because if you were to change a couple of notes in that, it would change the scale. It would change the feel. So this is a major scale in a diatonic pattern. It has a very positive feel. Now, if I were to change a note in there, ooh, see how it changes the mood? Yeah, that's minor. Okay, we'll talk about that in just a little bit. But basically what we're doing is that we're just taking these Legos, we're putting them together into a structure, and it forms an order. And when somebody says, well, what key is this in? Basically, it's asking you, what notes do we put together in order? What rules do we follow so that we get a certain feel or a certain scale so that it can create a mood or a feel. So this one with our diatonic pattern, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Right there, okay? So if I had that on the ukulele, the C scale, like that. So there's my C scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So I'm playing a C note, D note, E, F, G, A, B, C. So those are the notes or the order that follows something called the diatonic pattern. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Yes, okay. So when we're looking at this, how many of you have ever seen a circle of fifth sheet before or a diagram just like this? How many? Or how many have not? I'm looking in the live chat right now. Hey, Marie, M, hope everybody's having a great Saturday. Oh, that's very sweet. Yep, okay, Eloise, you have seen that. Yep, hey, good morning from New Jersey. Good morning, so glad you're here. Hi from the Netherlands. Anthony, sorry. Yeah, you struggled with it. Okay, Jason Lee, thanks for being honest. I appreciate it. So you've seen it. Yeah, I struggled with this too at first because it's like, okay, circles and whatnot. And what is it basically trying to tell you? I'm going to show you a different way to look at it in just a second, okay? And it involves this thing right here. Most of my students, I'll tell you, they prefer this over this. I make them learn both, but they like the other one better, and I'll show you why. So basically, we start right here, and it's called the circle of fifths. The reason why it's called the circle of fifths is because each note is a perfect fifth apart. And basically, it's twinkle, twinkle, little star apart. So it starts from C, and it goes to G. That is twinkle, twinkle, little star apart. Perfect fifth. Now, if I were to go from G to D, if I follow the wheel this way, G to D, and then I have G to D. Hear that? Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Now, if I go from D, G to A, we have A, twinkle, twinkle, little star. So do you hear that? It's a perfect fifth apart. Yay! So that's really fun. That's why it's called the circle of fifths, because they're all a fifth apart. And that's why it doesn't go in order of like maybe an alphabet. So that's something that my students ask me a lot, like, how come it's not A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like, you know, in music, but it starts at C? What's going on here? Well, it's because it's just talking about the interval perfect fifth circle of fifths. So if you keep going around this wheel right here, they're all going to be twinkle, twinkle, little star apart, but eventually it's going to get back to C. So it's a circle. It keeps going, keeps going. So I don't know if you found that interesting or not. Let's see if there's more light that I can bring in here, or if that will. Okay, maybe that's better. So we have the twinkle, twinkle, little star part, the fifth. And that's right. Now this tells us what rules to follow, what note to start on for scale, and what rules to follow when we're playing our scale. So if it's diatonic, we have the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So I start with C, and then I follow C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. This is kind of stuff that we can kind of breeze by because otherwise we may stay here for a really long time, and we'll get to kind of like a trick that I can show you to transpose. Okay, just kind of breezing by this part. There's a whole lot more involved with like tetrachords. I love talking about those. Those are really fun. Let me know if you want to talk about those too. Oh my gosh, those are fun. But we have from C to G. Oh, there's this little sharp right here. And on the musical staff, it's an F sharp. So the rules mean I start on a G. And in order to play do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, I have to make sure my F is an F sharp. It gives me the rules. It's kind of like a manual that you get when you buy a box of Legos and you want to make a Lego structure. It's basically telling you like the instructions of what you need to do in order to build what you want to build. All right, so D has two sharps. So we have F sharp and C sharp. If I didn't have those sharps in there and I didn't know what to do, it would sound like this. And that would be C Dorian mode. Don't worry about that. But you see how it creates a different feel if you add or subtract just one note? Hear that? So basically, this just tells us what rules to follow, what notes to play in order to create a major scale. That's all it's telling us, okay? So this right here, we will get to that inner wheel in just a moment. Okay, let's go to how do you figure out what key are we in with the circle of fifths? Well, a quick way is that you can download a circle of fifths sheet anywhere, like on Google, I should say. Type in circle of fifths printout and you'll be able to find it, okay? I didn't get an order of sharps or flats or anything like that. That would take quite a bit. I just want to get into the part where my students are like, so what do we do? If you want more details, let me know. I would love to be able to do clinics on just chord structure and tetrachords, things like that. So a quick way that you would be able to find on sheet music what key we're in is that this is Love is an Open Door from Frozen, not sponsored. This is my own book that I purchased myself years ago. Now, if I look at the very beginning right here, that's called the key signature. And I look at that and I see two sharps right there. That's not a hashtag, those are sharps. So I had one student ask me, like, Mrs. Denor, why is there a hashtag right there? It's like, no, it's not a hashtag, honey. That's a sharp. It just gives you a different note. It's a different note. So it tells you what to do that is different from like maybe an F to an F sharp, something like that. So they're two different notes. So we have these two sharps right here and we look for the wheel that has two sharps. We're in the key of D. And so the notes that we have to play in order to follow the rules to make sure that, you know, when we're playing a certain song, that we're not hunting and pecking for different notes. It just gives you the rules that, hey, we're in the key of D. That means your C sharp and your F sharp. And every time you encounter a C in the music or an F in the music, they're going to be sharped. Another way, let's do another example. Let's do... I've got a Beatles book right here. Ooh, here's one. Hey Jude. So this one in the book, it says, oh, look, there's a flat right there. There's only one. Looks like a lowercase b. And so if we get into the flats area right here, we see that there's one flat. It is the key of F. Another way that you can tell is there's a bunch of little sayings and tricks that you can find what your key, and again, we're breezing by this, okay, is that if you have something that is a sharp and you find the second to last, sorry, not the second to last, but if you find the last sharp and then you raise it up a half step on the musical staff, that's going to be your key. And for the flats is you find the second to last flat, and that will be your key. So let's say that this is the second to last flat and a B flat. So the one right behind it, B flat, we're in the key of B flat. If that's kind of like, a little stressed out, don't worry about it. Don't worry. So I want to show you this now. I know that was a quick, like, oh my goodness, huge, lots right there. Really, we could spend days on the circle of fifths. We really could. But I think when you're talking about transposition, I want to show you something where it's just a little bit easier for me and also for my students, where they look at this transposition sheet and they go, oh. So this right here, this is another way of looking at it, and it's in grid form. So we still have the circle of fifth represented, but it's now in kind of a grid form. So here is C, G, D, A. Here's my circle of fifths. We have C, G, D, A. It's just taken the circular form and made it into a grid form. So if you look at a key transposition table, if you Google search it online, you'll be able to find it. And then also Nashville number chart. If you search that too, you'll be able to find something like this. Okay, so what this does is that here is our notes in order of our diatonic scale. So we're going to make sure I have the right notes. C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And if it were extended, it would have another C, but it's only labeled 1 through 7. I'll show you why in a second. So you're like, hey, Katie, why is there a minor there? There's M's here. I'll show you. So you see how there are Roman numerals up at the top here, and you have 1 through 7. And then you have ones that are kind of more uppercase than others. So you have 1 that's more uppercase, 4, 5, and then you have the rest. So 1, 4, and 5. Huh, that's interesting. And then you have the 2, 3, and the 6. And you see those are kind of like lowercase right there. Let's take a look at this. The uppercase ones, do you notice that they don't have an M by them? Those are major chords. So we're now taking the chords of our scale and we're making them into, the notes of our scale, and now we're going to make them into chords of a pattern. So we have our C scale, just individual notes. Now what happens is that if we take positions 1, 4, and 5 and keep them major, C chord, F chord, G chord. What I've done is I've played the 1, 4, and the 5 chord. Does that sound familiar? Let's try. Yeah? Or have you noticed that there are a lot of beginner songs when you started the ukulele or guitar or piano, that a lot of your songs first started off with C, F, and G, and you're like, what? Why are we playing C, F, and G so much? Why? Because the most common chords in the diatonic pattern I would say in Western music are the 1, the 4, and the 5. We hear like that. Do you hear that? Have you ever heard that before? Yay. Okay. So that's true. Okay. All right. See, I'm just trying to get the comments right here. And so what happens is that if I have all of these notes in a scale right here, if I put them in chord form and I take the 3, the 2, the 3, and the 6, and I make those minor, and then I have a B right here, like right here in the 7th position, that's diminished. It's a diminished chord. And when I have those notes in a order, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, what happens is that if I make them into chords, 1, 4, and 5 are major, 2, 3, and 6 are minors, and the 7th position is a diminished chord. If I play all of those chords in order, they will make sense together. I'll give me right back. This is called the diatonic pattern, and it sounds like this. So here's my C scale, like that. Now, if I were to play a C chord, then a D minor chord, an E minor chord, an F, a G, A minor, and a B diminished all in a row, you're going to hear the scale, and you're going to hear like this progression, and these chords are going to sound like they belong together. So here's C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminished, C. Yeah? Okay, now I'm going to play it without calling out the chord so you can hear it. Do you hear it? And so what happens is that we took that order, that structure of the C scale, and then we added minors. We made them into the chords of our pattern. 1, 4, and 5 are majors, 2, 3, and 6 are minors, and then the 7th chord is a diminished chord. If you play all of those chords in order, it's going to sound like they belong together. It's called the diatonic pattern. I'm going to play the one in G right here so you can hear it. So we have G, A minor, B minor, C. Do you hear it? You hear it? So what does this have to do with transposition? It has to do with the fact that we have all music has order, all music has structure, and using this, it kind of puts everything in order for you. It gives you a structure so that it's a lot easier for you to be able to transpose a song. Okay? So for example, I am going to take out Budapest right here. And I'm just going to cover this right here. All right here are represented of the all major scales, like that. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit so you can see. Yay! I'll bring this down so you can see it too. Okay. Now this, I wonder if I can fold this, because we won't need the other ones. Oh yeah, look at that. Let's hope that doesn't fall. All right, give me a thumbs up and give me some good some good vibes that it doesn't fall. Okay, so what we have right here is we're in the key of G. And so far, we have a G and a C. G is in the 1 position, and then C is in the 4 position. This is so much easier for me to sing. My house in Budapest, my hidden treasure chest, golden grand piano, my beautiful C chord to you. Ooh, for you, ooh, I give a G. Yeah. So what I did is that the original key is in the key of, I think it's in the key of F. So then I find the key of F right here. And I think, so instead of everything being an F, I see like right there's my G. And I want it to be in the key of G. So every time I see an F, I play a G. Well, let's transpose it back then. So I'm going to get my marker. Here it is. Ta-da. So I'm just going to put it right here. This is the original key. Here's G. We're going to transpose it back. So let's say that I want to transpose something from G to F. I'm thinking, oh man, my goodness. That's, okay. This seems a little bit daunting, but it's not as scary as you think. What I do is I find the chord, and then I find the key that I want. I bring it down to the key that I want. So I'm like, okay, every G is now going to be an F. All right, so then that's a G as well. That would be an F. Oh, there's a G as well. That's going to be an F. There's a G as well. That's going to be an F. Oh, I ran into a C. So here's my original key. I find the C. Here's my F. I bring it down where the two meet in the middle. There's a B flat. So now this is going to be a B flat. And then there's my G again. F. It's kind of hard writing an F sideways. Just saying. But I'm doing my best. Oh, the diminished chord sounds like a seventh chord to you. Yeah. Well, it's everything in the scale is flatted, and then with a dominant seventh chord, you have a flat seven in there. So yeah. So if it does sound like a seventh chord, diminished chord, it could possibly sound that way. So when we have now the original, my house in Budapest, my hidden treasure chest, that's G. Now I'm going to play it in F. My house in Budapest, my hidden treasure chest, golden grand piano, my beautiful Castillo, ooh, for you, ooh, I'd leave it all. Do you see how that's just a little too low for me? So then what I did is I transposed it up a half step. Wait a minute. What do you mean by half step, Katie? Let me show you. So I'm going to move this. And I'm going to show you something called the chromatic scale. Now, if you haven't seen my Scales and Stretch course from my Patreon page, explains it pretty well. But what it does is that it has all of the notes in order of half steps. It sounds like it's climbing up the fretboard or climbing up the keyboard. I know Anthony's laughing. And so the D would be a C. You are correct, Mama Ukulele. Yes, you are right. So I have, that's the chromatic scale. You hear just like climbs up by half steps, do, 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 da, like that. So I'm going to write out the chromatic scale for you. All right, this is it. Hold, please. So some notes have two names. I had the chromatic scale printed off, and I don't know what I did with it. Oh, wait a minute. Katie, look at you. You were prepared. Here it is. So these are all the names on the keyboard, and then this is just written out in linear form. C, C sharp, D flat, D, D sharp, E flat, E, F, F sharp, G flat, G, G sharp, or A flat, A sharp, or B flat. And then we have a B flat, a B to a C. Now, what's interesting about this is that these are all the notes in music. I'm like, no, we're not going to get into double sharps and double flats and things like that, because that can be some ridiculousness. And I feel like it confuses people. But it's really 12 notes. There's only 12 notes in music. And so that's wonderful, because if there are more, I'd cry, because then there'd be more that I'd have to memorize. But you see this right here, the chromatic scale, it goes up by half steps, starting at C. Yeah. So in my mind, Budapest was too low for me to sing, because I am not George Ezra. I don't have that deep, awesome, amazing voice that he does. I am me, and that's all I can be. So I noticed that, okay, I'm starting off in the key of F, and if I want to make things higher, I have to go that way. If I want to make things lower, I have to go that way. So I looked, I'm like, okay, I could bring it up a half step and play it in F sharp or G flat. And if you look at your chromatic scale right here, okay, I'm like, okay, there's no F sharp, but G flat, it's the same thing. It's just a different order of notes, okay? They have different names, but essentially these two notes have the same pitch. They just have different names depending upon like what key you're in, and or if you are modulating to a different key. So don't worry about that. Just note that these two things, they're basically the same pitch, G flat. And then I look at the chords. We have an A flat, we have a G flat, we have a C flat, a D flat. How many of you have ever played a D flat chord on the ukulele in your life? Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anybody? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't see anybody. Not me. I know. It's because it can be really intimidating. Like, look at those chords. For me, I'm like, that's not the first thing that I want to play on the ukulele. Yep, if you have a capo. You could play a D flat if you have a capo, but really you'd be playing capoing it on the first fret, and then you'd be playing a regular C chord. But this is no capo, okay? So look, I'm looking at these chords and I'm like, those don't look like fun. And if I'm teaching a beginner class, I'm not gonna give my beginner students a G flat, or I'm not gonna give them those chords, because then it's just frustrating, and then ukulele is not fun anymore. And ukulele should be fun. And then, okay, so I'm looking over here, I'm like, okay, move it up there. What if I moved it up 2 half steps? I moved 1, 2, key of G. And I look at the chord, so like F to G, oh, that looks good. B flat to C, oh, that looks great. C to D, oh, even better, perfect. And it's easier for me to sing. And so I try out the chords and I see if it's easier for me to sing. Yeah, so cool. So, well, I just learned Budapest in the key of G. I'm sticking with that chord, nice. Yes, I do have a play along and like a live lesson for that I posted last week. So let's do something together. All right, let's pretend that we have a funky. All right, ready? I'm going to give you a chord progression. Actually, let's do this one. It's perfect. B flat, F, G minor, E flat. Okay, this, I'm going to give you the key. It's in the key of B flat. And we look at the key of B flat, we're like, okay, how many of you B flat is just not your favorite? Raise your hand. Give me an emoji, something, a crying emoji, a thumbs up, or thumbs, just whatever would work for you. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Key of C is easy when you're first starting it. The chords are more accessible. And at first when you start, sometimes it may not be easy for other people, but once you learn those 4 chords, it really opens up a lot of doors. Yeah, like Mama Ukulele is like, B flat's not my favorite. I was like, I hate the B flat, Joshua Lee says. Yes. Big hugs. Oh, crying emoji. Okay. Yes, I understand. Oh, B flat was easy for you. Great. That's wonderful. Okay. That's cool. All right. Now let's take a look. We're in the key of B flat. We are right here. All right. Now let's take a look. We can either move it down or we can move it up. What do you think? Do you want to move it up or down? I'm letting you vote. Up or down? Up. Okay. First one in the live chat. Nisha says up. So, she wins. So we're in B flat right here. Let's say if we move it to B, let's just take a look. We're just moving it up by 1 and experimenting. So if we are here in B flat and we want to move it to B, so I found my B flat, here's my B. So every B flat is now going to be a B, okay? Every E flat is now going to be an E. How many of you like the E chord? Be honest with me. All right, and then now we have every F. Oh yeah, sorry, every F is now going to be, where am I? I can't even see. Right there, so E flat, and now every F is going to be an F sharp. Maybe not your favorite chords to play on the ukulele. So let's move it up one more. So we just moved from B to C. Okay, this sounds promising. So because C is something we're familiar with, right? So we have B flat to C. We're all the way up here. So every B flat is going to be a C. Every G minor is going to be a D minor. Every A minor is going to be an E minor. Every B flat is going to be an F. Every C is going to be a G. How does that sound to you versus having the B flat? Yeah? Yeah, transpose away from an F on the guitar because the bar, yeah, you don't like the bar chord on the F chord. Yeah, that can be pretty daunting for a lot of people. So I'm taking my Nashville number chart. Just going to do this here. We're transposing to the key of C. And just a second here. Thank you. Thanks for your patience. These live lessons are fun. Sometimes it's, a little different because just, you know, it's live and trying to juggle a couple of things. So I appreciate you guys. So we have every B flat is now going to be, I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Every B flat is now going to be a C. Okay. Now I look at my B flat and I find the F. And I find my C chord right here, my C key. Bring it up, G. G minor. Okay, so I find that B flat, G minor, bring it up to the C, A minor, B flat, E flat, to the F. Kind of crooked, but I'm writing in a crooked way. So now from this compared to this, what do you think? It says Mike can't bar for anything. And so what happens is that it's a different key, but it's in the same pattern. So here's the B flat, F, G minor, E flat. All right. And then if I transposed it to these chords right here, yeah, Sandra B says relief. And so sometimes you'll see music that is in the original key that is different, maybe a different arrangement online, because the person that's choosing to teach the arrangement, they wanted to make the chords either more accessible to their audience, or they wanted to change the key because it was easier for them to sing. So you can transpose it up or transpose it down in order to just change, either make the chords more accessible or make it easier to sing, up or down. All right, let's see here. Grace, let's take a look here. So Grace, what we're doing is we are taking something that, like, you look at a chord chart and you're looking at these chords and you're like, I don't know if I want to play a chord with a bar chord in it. So I'm showing you how to change the chords where the pattern will be the same, but you're going, like, the pattern that you will hear will be the same. The key will be different, but I'm teaching you how to change the chords in a song so that it's easier to play or easier to sing. Okay? And so let's take a look. If we have, let's try another example. How many of you are bar chords? You're still working on them. Like what you would say, like, yeah, I'm still working on a bar chord here and there. What would you say? Give me a thumbs up. Hey, Taylor, how's it going? Good to see you. All right. How many of you would you say that? Yeah. I'm almost good with the bar chords. Nice. Yeah, sometimes it just takes a little time. For me, when I was learning guitar, it took me a full year to really get a good bar chord on the acoustic guitar, and that was the B minor. That's when I first started, and it's like, it took me a while. It was a battle, but you just like keep working on your progress and not perfection, right? Okay. Any general rules for transposing or good practices to follow? Here, I'll follow that in a second. That's a good question. All right. I can do the F bar chord. Okay, cool. Yeah, on the guitar. Nice. But really, if you know one bar chord, you know at least a dozen more because of that shape that you can move up the deck. Here, no can do. Still working on it. Understandable. Let's choose one with a B minor, okay? I'm going to get a highlighter. I love highlighters. Pink and yellow. If there's something you have to know about me, I love highlighters and Post-it notes. Okay. So we have a D. We'll choose this one. Why? because there is a B minor in there, okay? And B minor is a common chord. It's a common key. So we have this B minor right here. Let's say you're playing a song in the key of D. So the most common chords are going to be a D, 1, 4, G, 5, A, 6, B minor. So let's say we have that. D, G, A, B minor. If I were to play that in order, you'd say like, hey, I hear a pop song. Or it could be. Yep, I just chose the 1, 4, 5, and 6 chord. That's all I did. Now, that B minor, it may be like, oh no, I don't like that chord. It could be. And so what we can do is that we can take our chromatic scale, because we're in the key of, D right now. Ta-da! Cool. So what we can do is that we can look at the chords that are either above it or below it and just see what's going to be best. Let's go this way. So if I look at the one below it and I look at C sharp, D flat, and I look at my chords, C sharp, D flat. So we have D flat, E flat minor, F minor, G flat, A flat, B. No. I can hear you both, like all of you saying like, no. So let's move another one. C. Okay, let's chords in the key of C. C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminished. Okay, that looks a little better. Let's try it. D, every D will now be a C. Every G will now be an F. Every A will now be a G. Every B minor will now be an A minor. I'm going to play that chord progression. Let's see here. Okay, so C, F, G, A minor. Yeah. Okay, so this is the original key, D, G, A, B minor, new key, G, A minor. Yeah, so that is an option. I'm not going to go into capos yet because that could be a whole nother lesson of like how capos work and how you're really playing something in the original key, but you're using your capo in order to help you out to either play chords that are more open or prettier than maybe just a bar chord, or it might sound more open than a bar chord because bar chords can be pretty too. Let's has a nice variety, but what it does is that it just makes the key more accessible to the player, or you just may like the way that it sounds better, or it may fit your voice better. Okay? Yeah. So, hey, thanks for being here. So, good morning. Proud to join. Thank you. Thank you, Billy. Is it Billy or Perry? All right. Hey, Samantha, how's it going? Getting it. This is a little different on the Nashville number system. Yep, it's a little different, but it's basically the same thing. Is basically the same thing as the Nashville number system. When somebody says, I'm playing the 1, 4, 5 in the key of C, what they're basically saying is, I have the 1 chord, C, the 4 chord, F, and the 5 chord, G, because all music has order, all music has structure. And when you hear most modern music, you have a 1 chord, 4 chord, and a 5 chord. It should sound really familiar to a lot of songs that I have like a medley. I go, wild thing, you make my heart sing. It feels like a perfect girlfriend, she's upset. She's going off about something that you said. So yeah, that's really low for me. But you see, like, there's so many songs that you could be following the 1-4-5 structure, and then they all sound like, oh, they're all different songs, but they're using kind of the same structure and the same chords. And that's why when you see like songs that say 40 chords only, like 40 songs only using 4 chords, it's because the chord progressions in pop music or modern music, I wouldn't say or modern music, because they're not the same thing. But if you listen to the radio, you hear lots of 1, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 4, 5, 6. Or 6, 4, 1, 5. Hear that? So that's basically with chord structure. That could be another thing about songwriting. If you're ever like, considering songwriting, I have a whole songwriting course that I wrote 2 years ago, and I haven't even like published it yet. But it's basically what I do when I walk my students through songwriting. I teach them this. I teach them the chord structure, because now you have all of these options. So cool. Hi from Italy. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you liked this lesson. I'm glad that it helped. I know that this can be a bit overwhelming because there's a lot of, music theory involved, but it's something where if you have a song and the chords are just like, they're just not your favorite at the moment, and it's just something that you're working on, like the B flat or the B minor, consider transposing it up or down, or changing the chords so it's accessible to you, so that you're able to play it and just have fun. Because sometimes we're not looking for complicated. Sometimes we're just looking for fun when it comes to music. And I totally get that. I understand that. So something that would help too is that, let's say you have, I just thought of this, so I'm kind of flying on the seat of my pants here. So I hope that this makes sense if I do this. Yes, my lovely dirty whiteboard, yes. Dirty whiteboard, but that's okay. I know the clean person in me wants to be like, I need to clean it. I know I do. So let's say this. If you have a song that's in the key of B flat, consider transposing it to C. And because it's only a whole step away from the original key. So that may help. If you have a song like in the key of B as well, try the key of C. And then something that might help too, that if you have a song in the key of A, try the key of G, because A, the 1, 4, 5 in A, let's find this, is going to be A, D, E, F sharp minor. Now I have a video on 7 different ways to play the E chord, so it does make the E more accessible in such a way where maybe you could find one that you like better than that bar chord with your ring finger. But a lot of people, they still just really don't like the E chord, and I completely understand where you're coming from. If that is bothering you, perhaps go to the key of G, and there you'll find a G, C, D, E minor. So G, C, D, E minor. Yes, that's correct. And that might help you. And let's see here. Before I ask any questions from the comments section, how many of you are familiar with ultimateguitar.com? Oh, can I explain about whole steps and half steps? Yes. So in just a little bit. So when I'm talking about ultimateguitar.com, if you go to ultimateguitar.com, it is just a wealth of just chords that you can find. It's an open forum, so that means anyone can post anything. And their version of a chord chart that they have interpreted, and then they can write them out and they can help us out, which is really great because it's a great resource. And if you type in, let's say, Amazing Grace chords, and different versions will pop up, and you can take a look at the different versions and find the one that you want. Now, if you scroll all the way down to ultimateguitar.com, like at the bottom of the page, you'll see a little link that says transpose and a plus and a minus. So what you can do is you can hit the plus to make the key higher or a minus to make the key lower, and it will change the chords. Now, is it perfect? No, it's not. It's not perfect, but it is a way to get you into the ballpark. And what I mean by is it not perfect? Sometimes it will take something that is supposed to be a flat, like a B flat, and it will say that it is an A sharp. Sometimes it'll do that. And yeah, it just really depends upon what song you're transposing, because it's a computer program. That's what it is. It's not foolproof. It's not perfect, just like we're not foolproof or perfect either. But that's something that would be able to help you get in the ballpark of a key that might be accessible to you. And it's a great resource just to kind of get you within the range. All right, I learned songs from that. Yeah, you've seen it, ultimateguitar.com. So you know what? You try to shy away from bar chords. Yeah, that's understandable. You know, I get it. And I made a course on my Patreon page called Bar Chord Bootcamp that goes through bar chords and techniques, and then songs with bar chords to help build your confidence with those, because they can be really frustrating. I totally get it. I understand. It's something that can be really intimidating, and if you have no interest in learning bar chords, it's totally fine. You know, this is supposed to be fun for you. Okay. They also have a simplify. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Thanks, Low Hugs. All right. So how can half steps and whole steps? I'm going to show you my piano. Actually, I'm going to show you my ukulele. A half step is basically called a semitone. A semitone is right next to two notes next to each other, like this. Like that. So basically it's one fret. It's each fret. That is a semitone or a half step. So if I were to play all four notes on the first fret, second fret, third fret, and fourth fret of my G string, they would all be half steps apart. So I'm basically going up a chromatic scale, which is up by half steps. Like that. Okay? Now a whole step is if I put two half steps together and I skip. So it would be like this instead of this. Like that, it would be this. So I put the two half steps together and I basically skip. I basically skip a fret. Like that. Versus. Yeah, do you hear that? Okay. So I hope that makes sense with the half steps and whole steps, Nisha, like what they are. So, cool. Yay. Yeah, thanks, Jay. This is something that was, FTC guideline. This was sent to me. This ukulele, it's a solid top spruce, ebony back and sides. It's the 21 TCE from Cordova. Yeah, it's got a beautiful tone. I have to, it's a little bit out of tune. Strings are still settling. Yep. It's a little under. It's a little under. That's better. That's better. Yeah, that's a little better. But yeah, I like the solid top spruce and the cutaway. It's really nice. It has a really big punchy projected tone. So cool. I'm still a beginner, but I'm thinking about getting a Lava U. Recommendations. It really depends upon your personal preference. I think that it depends upon what you're looking for. And I think the uke is cool. I think it's a very cool design. It has a lot of really cool bells and whistles. The case is really heavy, in my opinion. So if you're looking for something to, put it on the shelf and decorate your shelf, I would definitely not travel with the case. That's just my personal preference. I prefer something lighter. So if I were to travel with that ukulele, I would put it in a different case, like one of my Gator cases, or one of my Fusion bag cases, because I like those cases. They're lightweight, durable, and then the uke is going to be protected, and then it's super lightweight because the uke is light in and of itself. So I just think that the case is really cool. It's really different and innovative. It's just heavy in my opinion. So yeah, you like your Enya. So does work the same as transposing wheel? Yes, it does still work as the transposing wheel. It does. And so I know some of you have those transposing wheels that you've purchased, and it's basically the same thing. This is just in linear form, in grid form, because some people like the wheel is just, it just doesn't click with them. With most of my students, they love this because it's the grid and they're transposing and moving things from a different key, and we transpose it together a lot. So I know that this was a lot of information just kind of packed into a little bit, but do you have any other questions about this? In the future, could you do a class on how to jam? Yeah, I could. I actually made a video. I just haven't edited yet. So mine is a Cordoba 25 TCE. Yep, I have that one. I like it. Let me, oh, the key transposition table is gold. Okay, good. I'm glad you like it. Been waiting around for years, but haven't had a whole table that is available. Yeah, this is free online. If you go to Google and it says key transposition table, it's there. And just bear in mind with the chromatic scale, this right here, G flat. If something is in F sharp, it is technically a different key, but they are the same pitch. Just sometimes it makes some of the chords more accessible. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. I know this was a lot of information. And usually when I go through transpositions with my students, we start very slowly and we work on it for months. We do, because then I give them example after example after example. Like we work on our technique books where we work on scales, notes, rhythm, things like that, foundational things, music theory. And then we go over a song that they want to learn and we have fun with it. And then I give them a song to transpose at the end. And we do this like for weeks and weeks and weeks, because sometimes it just takes, it takes practice. It does. So this is a lot. I understand. Yeah, well, thank you for being here. Any other questions? What is the age range of my students? The youngest student that I've ever had was 6 years old. And she was a guitar student, but she had 2 years of piano previously before she started guitar. She was definitely musically gifted. So yeah, it was the youngest guitar student. The oldest that I've ever had was in her 70s. So she was an ukulele student. I moved up to guitar, but I started with the uke tutorials. Very nice. Yeah, very cool. It's nice. I'm glad that it just felt like, and when you moved up from your uke, when you moved to a different instrument, when you moved to uke to guitar, did you find that learning the uke made things easier for you? I just want to know your opinion. Do I name my ukuleles? Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. So teaching vibrato and singing, I actually have a singing series on my YouTube channel, and that is free. And it talks about the mask of singing, and it talks about the resonance. When you place things in your resonance, that's when usually you get the note to spin, and then you can have, that's where most, at least I believe that most of the vibrato occurs right there. Because if you're just singing from your throat, and or if your tone isn't focused up here in the resonance, then there's no room for that note to spin. So if you check out that series, it's free, and it's goes sequential, and all of the videos are numbered. So yes, it goes from posture, breathing, and then it goes into finding your resonance. Don't skip any of the steps, because they all build on one after the other. Okay, some people just go directly to the belting one and then they completely skip the breathing one. I'm like, it has to do with your breath support. Your breath support is so important. So, because I don't want you to blow out your voices. Oh, can I make a tutorial on how to arrange music? That's a good suggestion. Has a lot to do with this. Just telling you. Okay. Yeah, your picking head techniques carried over. That's awesome. Good to know. Let's see here. I transpose by ear. Can't play guitar anymore because of arthritis. Oh, I'm sorry about that. This right here, I will say, this is in my head. I have this memorized. And so when a student brings in a song and there's no chords or no nothing on the internet for it, this was also back in 10 years ago. There wasn't a lot of online resources, so my students would bring in their iPods, iPods, or they would bring in a CD, CDs, and then I would listen to it, and then I would figure it out in about 3 minutes, and then write out the chords and then teach it to them. But that was a lot of ear training, and it's because I had this memorized. Because once you find the starting chord, you can you find the different options, and you can kind of experiment with okay, this is a C chord first. It could either be in the key of C, could be in the key of G. There's lots of different things that you can do with this. Do you recommend using a capo or retuning the uke? I think that those are awesome tools to be able to utilize. I don't see anything as oh, well, I remember somebody said, well, a real guitarist doesn't need to use a capo. It's yeah, if you know your fretboard and your bar chords, great. That's really cool. But not every song sounds great when you use all bar chords. Sometimes they sound prettier with an open chord rather than just using a bar chord. And it's not about, technical aspect. I know a lot of technical players that use capos, but they like to use the capo because they like the open chords, the way that they sound, because it expresses what they want to say with the song. It's not all about technicality. At least I think so. Okay. Let's see here. I am eating dinner. Okay, you're funny. So how do you play a D chord? Sophia, Artsy Kitchen. I actually have a video on how to play the D chord 7 different ways. So if you type in the YouTube search bar, how to play the D chord 7 different ways, or how to play the D chord 1 music school, my video will pop up. It'll be there. And so then you can find a way that is going to be easiest for you. So yeah, that was Sophia's Artsy Kitchen. Okay, yeah, you get a lot of music from Ultimate Guitar. Is that it? Ooh, I don't know what that is. Oh, it's me leaning on the piano. I thought there was a horn outside. Sounds ominous. I must have hit a setting. I'll turn off the piano. That was hilarious. Okay, I have to transpose a lot because of my voice down. Yes, understandable. And that's good because you want to be able to sing that's something that's in your range. Yes, you had a pretty high voice before you hit puberty, and now you can't sing high songs anymore. I understand that sometimes that can be, difficult and hard to reconcile the changes, but just know that your voice has matured and changed, and there's new things that you can do now that you wouldn't have been able to do beforehand. So I know it's hard. There's advantages and disadvantages. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed the Christmas songs. Can I make up a melody on the spot? Just a second. You love your Dearest Niece series. I'm glad you like it. Let's see here. It says, how do I know what my range is? It's basically the lowest note that you can sing and the highest note that you can sing. And if you are testing out a song, test out the lowest note that you have to sing in the song and the highest note you have to sing in the song. And if it's too low, transpose it up. If it is too high, transpose it down. And sometimes there are just some songs where they're just beasts, where the range is just huge. Then that's when I say modify the song, change the melody a little bit, or change some of the high notes to a little bit lower, or some of the low notes to a little bit higher to change it to fit your voice. I think sometimes we're so stuck on trying to sound like somebody else that we forget about our own voices, and they are unique for a reason. Okay. Let's see here. Are you doing the singing series? Should I do all of my singing in the mask? I say that, when you're singing in your resonance, in the mask of singing, that is very key because it keeps the pressure off of here. Now, will you feel it, the different parts of your range? I think you're going to feel it because singing can be very subjective, but there are some people that say that you should only sing up here all the time in like the bel canto, like through there, and then but really, I think that if you're singing in your chest voice and your head voice, just making sure that you're using that resonance because it's going to make things easier. It's going to take the pressure off of your voice, and it's going to make things feel lighter, and it's going to save you in the long run. Okay, our voices they can run out, because they are muscles. They can be stretched, strained, and strengthened just like any muscle. So you have to take care of it. And so if you're belting and belting and belting and talking and talking and talking and just yelling and screaming and not resting your voice, you could develop nodes, and you could develop a condition where you won't be able to sing as well or even speak clearly. And I can't hammer that enough. So then if you are singing in your chest voice, making sure you have that mask of singing, keeping that pressure off of your vocal folds, it's very, very important. Okay, that's my opinion right there. Okay, let's see here. Let's see here. Is there anything else? Okay. I'm trying to think if you have it. There's another question. Can I make up a melody on the spot? And then I will close with this. Let me see here. I'm gonna have you choose. Are you ready? This may be dangerous. I may regret this. But here we go. Can you choose? Here, let's see. I'll just give you an example. Choose a key between C, G, D, and A. Okay? Choose what key do you want? C, G, D, or A? G. We hear G, we hear E, we C, D. All right. Rick chose G. So that was the first one that popped up. I might regret this. So let's take a look at some music structure here. In Western, we have the 1, 4, and the 5 chord are going to be the most common. So we have 1, 4, 5, and I'm going to put the 6 in there because in a lot of modern music, you've got the 6 in there. So we have a G, C, D, E minor. D, E minor, and then C. Oh, now all the volts come in. I see it. Okay, so let's see here. Do I want it to kind of start? Let's try that. Let's see what we got here. So I like that. We got a G, D, do you know what that is? I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting here for me, that I call my own. It's also let it go, can't hold it back anymore, let it go. Now I have to think of my own. Okay, So let's see here. Yay, sounds nice. So it's the 1, 4, 5, and the 6 chord. You've seen those chords a lot probably in your chord charts. G, C, D, E minor. And you're like, how come we always play those chords together? It's because according to the diatonic pattern, they sound nice together. They sound like they belong. They're a part of that diatonic pattern. That's a fancy, fancy word for just that musical pattern with a do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do follows that that major scale. Can you make up a tutorial for that? I don't know. I can try. Let's see here. For which song? For Let It Go or A Million Dreams? I have both already on my channel. So let's see here. I need a topic, family friendly and appropriate. Yes, I already have the tutorial, Sophia's Artsy Kitchen. I already have the tutorial for A Million Dreams up on my channel. I think I published it like 2.5 years ago. So it's already there. So it's really cool. I also have the guitar one, I think. I think I have the guitar one. My battery is low by. That is going to be my topic. Okay. My battery is low. Goodbye. It was so nice of you to join me today. I hope that you had lots of fun. It's such a shame that you couldn't stay. Recharge your batteries. This is a PSA. You may miss your favorite lesson, but it's okay, 'cause it's free on YouTube. It's free for you to view whenever you want. That's the beauty of video. It's free on YouTube. Free on YouTube. I hope that you join the live chat the next time we have one. There's my on-the-spot random song for you. Using the 1, 4, 5 chords in the key of G. There it is! Yay! If there's something you have to know about me, I actually love making parodies and making up songs all the time. It's just, yeah, I do it around my house all the time, and I embarrass my little 5-year-old. She's like, Mom, stop it! Oh, that's cool. All right, I love you guys so much. I know this was a lot of information in like one part, and you know, hopefully maybe I'll make a shorter video on this where I just truncate all of the information and just make it just a little bit more concise. Sometimes when you're doing things on the fly and people have questions, it takes a little bit longer, but I'm really appreciative of the interaction that I have here on the live. So I appreciate you coming here and being here. Oh, so I appreciate you guys. So, okay, I need to go, and I hope you have a wonderful Saturday. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. Okay, have a wonderful day. Bye.